Shri Hare Namaha. Welcome to everyone, and we shall begin today's session now. So this is the 10th session of our course on fundamental principles of Tattvavaada, and today we shall be discussing about the concept of Kala or time. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha, Shri Param Guru Bhyo Namaha, Shri Adi Guru Bhyo Namaha, Shri Mula Guru Bhyo Namaha, Shri Madananda Tirtha Bhagavat Patacharya Bhyo Namaha, Shri Vedavyasaya Namaha, Shri Bharate Namaha, Shri Saraswate Namaha, Shri Vayave Namaha, Shri Brahmane Namaha, Shri Mahalakshmi Namaha, Shri Narayanaya Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Mokshaprada Shri Vasudevaya Namaha, Krishnaya Vasudevaya Hare Paramatmane Pranatakleshanashaya Govindaya Namo Namaha, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare, Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotvam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Grantamudirayat. Narayanam Suragurum Jagadekanatham Bhakta Priyam Sakla Loka Namaskritam Cha Traigunya Varjitam Ajam Vibhumadhyamisham Vande Bhavagnam Amarasura Siddhavandyam. Avikaraya Shuddhaya Nityaya Paramatmane Sadeka Rupa Rupaya Vishnave Sarvajishnave Namo Hiranya Garbhaya Hare Shankaraya Cha Vasudevaya Taraya Sargastityanta Karine Ekaneka Swarupaya Stula Sukshmatmane Namaha Avyakta Vyakta Rupaya Vishnave Mukti Hetave Sargasthiti Vinashanam Jagatosya Jaganmaya Mula Bhuto Namastasmai Vishnave Paramatmane. So we are repeating yesterday's announcements for those who may have missed it. So as of yesterday, we have released our new book on our e-library, the translation of the 6th Amsha of the Vishnu Purana, which is available on our e-library, and which is a complete translation with additional explanations as well. And this provides a good foundation on Vaishnava philosophy as well as Tattvavaada in general for those who are beginners especially. So the most basic concepts of philosophy and bhakti, jnana, and how to practice sadhana, and the most basic philosophical questions here are answered very well, and there are additional explanations to help beginners as well. So though we advise everyone, especially those who are beginners, to read this book thoroughly once, and we also advise everyone to perform proper adhyayana of this Purana, especially because this 6th Amsha is very important, and it is also one of the shortest Amshas of the Vishnu Purana, but has the most important and fundamental knowledge. And you can provide your feedback and suggestions to our official email address as well. So this book also contains the Samskrita shlokas with their word-by-word meanings and the translations, so it will be beneficial for performing a proper adhyayana of this. And the next announcement is that we have reopened registrations for our course. So those who are interested can register now and join us live here. And in between, we shall conduct assessments for all the participants, and those who qualify with at least 60% of the total score will receive a certificate of completion upon completing the whole course of around 8 months. So the registration link is the same which was going to be used earlier on our website. One can also go to our website bhaktideeds.org to register for the course. And moving on, there is a book release at Sri Puttigemata's Basvanugudi branch at Bengaluru on next Saturday, that is 8th of March 2025. And those who are interested and who are at Bangalore or can come to Bangalore are requested to please attend this event. You can also meet Sri Vishwadhiraja Tirtharu in person, and the other guests also include Sri Rohit Chakratirtha, who is a noted author and expert in ancient Indian science and mathematics. He is a researcher on that and has written multiple articles. So and he was also the former head of the Karnataka Education Board's textbook committee. So moving on, today we shall discuss about the units of time and the concept of time in our philosophy. So basically, the first thing which one has to understand is that unlike other philosophies in especially the most of the Hindu darshanas and especially Vedanta considers time to not be something linear. In other words, it is something cyclical, and it is in a loop. Basically, the units of time keep repeating themselves all the time. So to give a better idea, these are the units of time which can be found even in our translation of the Vishnu Purana on page number 16. This is actually from the first Amsha of the Vishnu Purana in the third Adhyaya. So the smallest unit which we can know is called one Kashta. So this is represented by 15 twinklings of the eye. So this so 15 such fractions of a second where one's eye can blink is known as a kashta. Now 30 such kashtas make one kala. Now 30 kalas, the word kala means time as well as it can also mean a unit of time here as we see here. So 30 kalas make one muhurta or two ghatikas. One muhurta can be divided into two ghatikas. Now 30 muhurtas make one day and night on the earth. Basically 30 muhurtas make up 24 hours. Hare Rama Guruji. Shri Vishwadiraja Tirtharu has joined us now.
Hare Rama. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Guruji.
You started this one about the divisions of time.
Yes, Guruji. We were just explaining the units of time for them to get a good foundation of this.
Okay. Yeah. Please go ahead.
And we also shared this poster where you'll be attending this event and at Putigemata.
Yes, in Bangalore. Yeah. Well, glad. Please continue.
Moving on, these are the units of time. So one muhurta is divided into two ghatikas, and 30 such muhurtas make one day. So in those who are used to seeing the Panchanga will know that there will be there are muhurtas for specific actions, or for there are some auspicious times which people usually see for certain events. And so totally 30 muhurtas are 24 hours approximately, and 30 such days and nights are 1 month or two pakshas. One paksha is a fortnight, basically the phase of the moon, either waxing phase or waning phase. And similarly, 6 masas are one ayana, and two ayanas are one varsha, that is 1 year. So the ayanas are again divided into one southern ayana and one northern ayana, which are one day and one night of the devatas. And for the devatas, 12,000 years as per their time scale will be one chaturyuga for us. So assuming most of you will be knowing about the chaturyugas, which are Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So in our time scale, they are 43 lakh 20,000 years totally. So in for the devatas though, they are only 12,000 years as per their time scale. So this is one concept of time dilation which modern science says, but this was there in the shastras actually thousands of years ago. So moving on, as per our time scale, Satya Yuga is approximately 14 lakh 40,000 human years, and Treta Yuga is 10 lakh 80,000 years, and Dwapara Yuga is 7 lakh 20,000 years. Kali Yuga is 3 lakh 60,000 years. So along with this, there is a period called as Sandhya, which is the period before a yuga, and there is something called Sandhyamsha, which is the period after a yuga. So for each yuga, it is just 1/10 the duration of that yuga. So totally, Satya Yuga would be approximately 17 lakh 28,000 years, including its Sandhya and Sandhyamsha. Then Treta Yuga would be 12 lakh 96,000 human years. Dwapara Yuga would be 8 lakh 64,000 years. Kali Yuga would become 4 lakh 32,000 human years. Because in Kali Yuga, the Sandhya is 100 years and the Sandhyamsha is another 100 years. So in the scale of the Devatas. So multiplying that and converting it to our human time scale, we get these numbers. Then 1000 Chaturyugas make one Kalpa, which is a day of Brahma. So that is approximately a huge number actually. And that is almost 432 crores human years. And it is the tenure of 14 Manus. Basically, 14 different Manus will finish their tenure in one day of Brahma. And one manvantara, that is the tenure of one Manu, is 71 Chaturyugas approximately, which is 30 lakh 67,000, 30 crore 67 lakh 20,000 human years. And 14 manvantaras are approximately one Kalpa or day of Brahma. So the most important part to remember here is As said in the Vishnu Purana, there are countless such Chaturyugas like these of the same characteristics. So all these units of time keep repeating themselves again and again. So as we said in the beginning, time is not something which is just linear as per Hinduism. All the Hindu darshanas opine that time is something which has these many units and the cycle keeps repeating again and again. Now, in the Bhagavata Purana, there is a slightly modified form of the same units of time. The smallest units are first starting from two Paramanus, which make one Anu, and three Anus make one Trasarenu, three Trasarenus make one Truti, and 100 Trutis make one Veda, three Vedas make one
It's
Lava.
Truti. Truti.
And,
It's a Truti. The ta
okay, Guruji.
Trasharenu. Trasharenu it comes.
I guess there was a mistake in the shloka then. So
Is it? Okay.
three nimeshas make one kshana, and five shanas make one kashta, and 15 kashtas make one lagu, and 15 lagus make one nadika or danda, and these make one muhurta again. So a nadika is the same as a ghatika, which is basically half of a muhurta, and the day is divided into four yamas, which is one day, and another four yamas, which is one night. So basically, 30 muhurtas are 8 yamas. The rest of the calculations remain the same as per the Vishnu Purana. So now Guruji will continue the rest of the presentation.
When you're saying Trasharenu and Anu and Paramanu, what does it mean to say? Because Paramanu is a thing, right?
Yes, Guruji. Here it was a unit of time.
How does it become a unit of time? That's my question.
Basically, the movement of the subatomic particles or the atoms, if I'm not wrong.
Hmm. Or is it the time that light takes to pass through it?
I'm not fully sure of that.
Hmm. Or is it the time that it takes to vibrate? Matter is constantly in motion. So when it vibrates, it forms into a Trasharenu because although they are units of time, the way when you say when we say about objects, particles, so they join together. Three anus forms a Trasharenu. Trasharenu basically they say describe is when you look into a sunbeam, you can see particles, right?
Yes, Guruji.
Like when you look at sunbeam in the sense, I'm not saying in the open air. Those of you who have lived in the uh, like tiled houses, you can see that when some tiles would be kept, there'll be gaps kept there intentionally, and then sunbeams would be coming. The sunlight would be coming inside from those gaps. When light comes through those gaps, you can see the smallest bit of particles there circling in the light.
Yes, Guruji.
Uh, I think trust to can you put that list again, Raja? That, can we see that again on this?
Yes, Guruji. 1 minute.
The Bhagavata, the one from the Bhagavata that you've taken. The one that you showed the from Vishnu Purana and the Bhagavata, have they been circulated amongst the participants? Like,
Yes,
do they
Guruji.
have? Uh, is it
They are
okay?
available in the translation of the Vishnu Purana which we shared.
Okay, okay.
It's visible now.
Yes, this is Vishnu Purana. Then for the Bhagavata, how do we?
Guruji, you were not audible. Your voice is breaking, Guruji.
This is Vishnu Purana one. The Anu Trasha Renu Paramanu, I think that was the one that Bhagavata uh, was from Bhagavata, right?
Yes, Guruji.
Okay, this one. Yeah, basically, Truti is used in the sense of a moment. Like, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, Guruji.
Truti is used in the sense of moment. Like, wait a moment. We say, that a moment is more like Truti. Um, of course, I think it is smaller than a second. Truti is smaller than a second. What we call as 1 second, Truti will be smaller than that, right? Do you hear me, Prajna?
Yes, Guruji.
Truti will be smaller than what we call a second, right? One
Yes,
second.
Guruji.
Yeah. And then Veda is, I think, the time that if you, when you just poke with the hand, when you poke a needle through a bundle of leaves, fresh leaves, say you kept, I think it's how many, 100 leaves or 10 leaves maybe. When you kept 10 leaves and when you puncture through a sharp needle, so the time that the needle takes to pass through a leaf is, I think it's called a Veda, right? Or is it 100 leaves? The Veda means the time that it takes to pass through. Anyway, so these are from natural observations and natural sources. One, yeah, yes. Um, so these units of time, uh, when they are mentioned, who experiences them at that level?
We experience it.
But are you able to differentiate between like one Truti and the next Truti? Because one Truti is really a very fractional part of a second. What is the biggest unit of time that you feel that you can be aware of? I'm sure it varies from person to person. But
Light
have we ever,
years.
sorry,
Light years.
light year? Light year means the time that light, uh, it's a distance. Light year it's a distance. Light year is a distance, right?
Yes.
The duration that light travels in 1 year, that is what they call a light year. If I'm not
It's
mistaken.
the distance, Guruji.
No, what I was asking is, what is the smallest unit of time that we can sensibly be aware of today?
some fraction of second.
Okay. But mostly when it happens, when things happen in lesser than that time, then we will not even be aware of it. Um, Something that was just flying in the air, which was flying at a great speed, if it just hit you and went, that if that hit is for a time that is lesser than a fraction of a second, a fraction in the sense maybe lesser than say 1/10 of a second, you won't even sense the hit. If it has created a damage, then that damage might start hurting you after say like half a minute or so, or maybe 1 minute. So after it starts hurting, then you might start rewinding and thinking retrospectively that something hit me. Has anybody experienced that, such a thing?
Yes, Guruji.
When you're fighting with a fierce warrior, you wouldn't have even noticed that his weapon can move in a certain way, and it would have, by the time you even realize, maybe it can happen that parts of hands and legs and even your head might be cut off even without you realizing when it got cut off. So I mean, things are fragile. uh, of course, all these expressions are relative, of course, that how fragile they are, and how what's the smallest unit of time that we can sensibly aware of. So yes, we can be aware of a few, maybe up till say sensibly aware of, in the sense that it has a relevance to what we can sense, and there should be something that either happens to us or we do in that frame of time. It could even be thoughts. I'm not just saying that there should be some objects hitting you. You may be able to deal a blow to somebody, uh, you know what's that, I think Bruce Lee, or who was it, like, I mean, we hear in Mahabharata a lot that at once they fired, like 25 arrows were fired at once. They punka, they say, means one after the other. Um, they had when they fired, when they shot the arrow, of course, for a bow, who is new to archery, it will be visible when that person is taking the arrow, putting it on the bow, pulling the string, and releasing it. So that gap will be visible. But in the Mahabharata, we hear descriptions wherein that was not visible. You could not see them take the arrow, put it on the bow, and then fire it. You couldn't see them do it. It would just appear as though arrows are just emerging from the bow. Has anybody read these descriptions in the Mahabharata war?
Yes, Guruji.
Ah, okay. So the rest of you who have not come across those descriptions of actual events of war in the Mahabharata, when two warriors were fighting, what is the swiftness with which blows were dealt with the weapons that they were wielding? Would do good to take a look at those descriptions, not from some translations. If you read uh, from the original Mahabharata, you would be able to see those descriptions. You will hear words like Mandalakara, the bow was there. When thoughts flood, I'm not even
Guruji, your
just
voice
speaking
is
about, they are
breaking.
so.
The last sentence was not audible.
Is it better now?
Yes, Guruji.
I'm not only speaking of events, I'm also speaking about thoughts. In the realm of thoughts, we see thoughts flood our mind. So, what is the smallest unit of time? Now that we can speak in terms of kshana or even truti, veda. What is the smallest unit of? I'm not expecting an answer to this question. I'm requesting you all to reflect on yourself and find out what is the smallest unit of time that you can sense. To whom, see, this is Bhagavata has a relevance to sadhana. So in whose sadhana is it the time taken for a thought to come? No, you can make sense of time, right? Like there should be some time which makes sense to you. Of course, making sense means it will translate to events, either mental or physical. So yeah, the speed of thoughts or the speed sensibility itself, I think it will mm, it although it is very much intertwined, it is connected invariably to phenomena like thoughts occurring and thoughts going. But sensibility itself, I think, is there can be a sensibility uh, if you can take it deeper than just occurrence of thoughts. If you can try to sense time itself, what is the swiftest thing that you can sense? When you have to say something, please unmute your mic and say a comment. This is I'm looking for interactive reflections. Yeah,
Could I answer that question, Guruji?
yeah. No, you should.
Basically, in the Vishnu Purana sixth Amsha itself, the answer was given in the third chapter. The shortest duration inferable to us is said to be one matra, that is the twinkling of an eye.
Hmm.
And that, as we explained in the previous slides, 15 such matras make one kashta, or one matra can also be defined as the time that is taken to pronounce the letter in, as we call it in chandas, to pronounce a letter which has the duration of one matra.
Hmm.
So Parashara Rishi also says that it's on page 55 or 56, if I'm not wrong, of our translation.
Hmm. No, that is as per the book. I'm requesting you all to reflect on yourself and see what is the smallest sense of time that you can. Even as per the book, what is there, I want you to translate it into your experiential realm. We can, of course, there is a phenomena like twinkling the eye, but then when you calm down and when you become reflective, and when you become introspective, uh, I think there are even thoughts that we can have, or maybe two or three kinds of um, we can spot them within, I think, the twinkle of an eye also. So who are these divisions meant for? Like if we, but in general, what you said is right, that the twinkling of the eye are for a person to go to even smaller divisions of time. It happens in dhyana, not in wakefulness. In wakefulness, of course, in wakefulness, in the sense when we are externally awake, in our sense of, in our state of external wakefulness, that might be the phenomena that we can sense the maximum. But when you get into meditative trance, um, the mind becomes more sensitive, and then you start sensing time more slowly. A twinkle won't be that fast. Or when you are in immense pain, actually, time lapse happens. For example, when death happens, when people die, at the time of transition from one body to another, then within a matter of seconds, see, you have experienced a lifetime, maybe what, like 60 years, 70 years, 80 years of living that you have experienced. Everything that you have experienced in 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, whatever the life that you have lived till then, everything uh, will your consciousness will pass over all. It will touch over everything in the matter of a second, or even lesser than a second. So on the clock, it might tick as 1 second, like tick. Maybe that's more or less the amount of time that you might take for a twinkle, for twinkling the eye, for opening and closing the eye, for winking. Is it twinkling, or called winking the eye?
Blink.
Yeah, the blink. Yeah, blinking. Yeah. So now that blinking, I think that is the maximum in external wakefulness. But when you die, at the time of dying, then in one moment you can see the entire life for once. Like it's like a replay of the entire life that happens. The Bhagavata Purana mentions that when the child is in the womb, in the seventh month, is it sixth month or seventh month? I think it's the seventh month. It's there in the third canto. Jiva Uvacha, it comes. Uh, so there in the seventh month, I guess it is. Yeah, it's the seventh month. The or is it the eighth month? So somewhere around the seventh month or the sixth month, or is it the eighth month? The child gets to see 100 lifetimes, 100 lifetimes before. The embryo that is there inside, it gets to see 100 lifetimes in a matter of a few little time. Of course, the entire 100 lifetimes, and every time that it does things that has been the cause of its being born again in a material body. So whatever has led it to this state of embodiment, it regrets it very much, because it senses the opportunity there which it could have gone forward in its journey of life, but it didn't. It stopped because of various reasons. It will reflect on that, it will stop. And it and a very you could also see, you could also, if a scanner is allowed, you can see such reactions in the child when it is witnessing its 100 lifetimes. So 100 lifetimes will pass in the matter of a very short time. So definitely time is being sensed there. It is passing for you much more slowly than it would for a child, for a normal person. These are instances where you have slowed down. I want So shall we reflect on this event? what I just described?
Yes, Guruji.
Yeah, I'm waiting for your reactions. I don't think this is something that most people would have heard, would know about it.
Uh, Namaste Guruji. I had a doubt.
Yeah.
So the soul inside the womb, which remembers its hundreds of lifetimes, forgets everything after coming out.
Yes, yes. It will forget everything when it comes out. It will not forget everything when it comes out. In fact, it remembers still. It has a hangover. You know what's a hangover?
Subtle memory.
Hangover like uh, do you have practice of music? Do you practice music?
No Guruji.
uh, what do you practice? Like, is there anything else that you practice? Like,
I read books often.
okay, reading books. So when you read one book, then you want to read a fresh book. You want to take up a fresh book to read. So won't you have a hangover from the previous book that you read?
Yeah, Guruji. Some slight memories related to
It's not a
things.
memory. It's rather a hangover. We call it a hangover. Hangover is not just a memory. Hangover, of course, it includes memory, but it includes memory with some kind of that book. Maybe it told you some story. Maybe it told you some. It gave you some message. It gave you something that makes you obsessed. It's some kind of not exactly an obsession, but it occupies your mental space in a way that doesn't let you experience the next fresh book the way it is.
Yes, Swamiji. When we see any films, also it occurs.
Yeah, okay, films. Yeah, that's also another. That's why I asked, what is it that you do? Okay, when you see films, also, you have a hangover of the previous film. And then there is a narrative, there is a whole spirit, there is a whole mood that creates, right? That mood will have a hangover. So now I hope everyone understands what's a hangover.
Yes, Guruji.
Uh,
Yes,
for
Guruji.
example, people who have partied, who do some party and they'll maybe drink too much. So when they drank too much, next day in the morning when they wake up with a hangover. You know what's a hangover? Like they are still not ready for the next day.
Yes, Guruji.
Got it.
That is what that's hangover. So the child will have hangover of his previous lives. It is born with a hangover. So you will see that you must have definitely seen. Of course, you might not have children yet, but you will have definitely seen your own brother, younger brother, or maybe your neighbor or somebody amongst your relatives. You might have played with, or you might have witnessed, seen from close, young small children. Small children. When I say small children, I mean children within the age of 2 years or 3 years. Have you
Yes, Guruji.
have you have you people Have you people got an opportunity to spend time with children who are less than 2 years old? I mean,
Yes,
closely.
Guruji.
So if you be with them, you will see that they will laugh sometimes for no reason. Not because you made them laugh, for apparently absolutely no reason, they start laughing.
Yes, Guruji.
That's because of the hangover. They are remembering events from their previous life, or they are seeing this life in the what do you say, in the image of a previous lifetime where that would have meant something very funny to them.
So even if they cry for no reason, is it
Yeah,
because of their past
exactly.
life?
Exactly. Because they are the horror or the uh, trauma. Sometimes there is traumas. Those trauma. So anything that reminds them of past life traumas, that trauma will make them cry vehemently, but very fervently they will cry for apparently no reason. Anybody who has spent time closely with a child would know this.
Yes, Guruji.
So then we have to see Tattvavaada. Tattvavaada. Don't think that Madhva philosophy is something that is limited to the books. Madhva didn't intend to limit philosophy to books. Understanding comes from Madhva is speaking what the entire nature is speaking. What reality is speaking. It is not a book. It's not a philosophy. It's not a theory. So it is through experience of life that we will arrive at the right philosophy. uh, it's not just that something that some book says. For a matter of fact, we should tell you this, that Madhva never sat down writing books. Madhva in fact never sat down and wrote any book. All the books that are attributed to Madhva, he just dictated them. He would all the time he would be in a very jovial, enjoying mood. He would not carry the air that you would expect from an accomplished scholar. Do you understand this?
Yes, Guruji.
He lived like a playful child. He was uh, uh, he didn't carry that load of a, like he didn't carry that, not load, what's the word for that, he didn't carry the air of a scholar. It will become very apparent to you if you come across Madhva Vijaya, which describes the activities of Madhva. He was always very dynamic, active, he is not the kind of guy who would park his body behind a desk. You get that? This parking your body behind a desk.
Yes, Guruji.
No, Guruji.
You didn't understand that? Parking your body behind a desk. It's a it's just a parking your body in the sense you park your car or you park your vehicle somewhere, right? So like that, when you sit behind a desk and when you just look staring at a book, or when you sit writing a book, that's called parking your body behind a desk.
Okay, Guruji, got it.
Uh, so he is not the kind of guy that would park his body behind a desk. He ate in proportions that is hardly imaginable to us. Uh, After his meal once, in southern Karnataka, I think it was northern Kerala. He was offered. They brought fruits. The one fruit have you seen Kerala banana? It's called Nendra. Uh, so, it has got its own flavor. It has got its own taste. It has got a yellowish orange texture. It has got a very unique taste. It has got a unique flavor. It has got a unique aroma also. Kerala banana. It's called Nendra. Nendra. Uh, they had brought a cartload, a big cart full of Nendra, and uh, uh, Madhva ate the entire load of bananas himself. And to the surprise of people around him, they even asked him, how is it that even after eating so much, when we have a sumptuous meal, our stomach shows signs of eating, it becomes a little big, right? Containing the food, so that you can see that okay, he has eaten. But Madhva's stomach did not show any signs of containing any food. It remained as thin as like a wolf's stomach. It's Bhima is called Vrikodara. Vrikodara means uh, you've seen the stomach of a wolf or a jackal. Jackal.
Yes, Guruji.
Yes, Guruji.
It's yeah. It's quite thin. It's very small. So, uh, Madhva's stomach used to be like that, and then his own guru asks once that where is all this going? Oh, there's so much you're putting inside the mouth, but it is not showing up in the stomach. So Madhva said that there is a fire in my stomach that can consume a lot. So the Vaishvanara Agni, that immediately everything gets digested. So yeah, so he was such a very dynamic person. Uh, so he sang. See, some of the mathas, they say that okay, it's 12 chapters of the songs composed by Madhva. They were not just 12. Trikrama Panditacharya says that the compositions of Madhva are countless. Just that some of his disciples would note down some things that he told, and they became his books. He never sat and wrote down. He did not pen down even one single book. But there are nearly now 40 books to his authorship. But they are all authored. They were all taken down as notes. It was taken down either from his dictations, or when he spoke, they wrote down. He spoke a certain reasoning. He spoke a certain thing, and immediately especially one of his disciples by the name Hrishikesha Tirtha would take them down, and that's how we have the literature that's attributed to Madhva. Okay. Uh, yeah, the doubt that you asked, did you get an answer to that? There is a hangover.
Yes, Guruji. I got it.
Yeah. As time goes by, and as the child's involvement with this body and its relatives and surroundings increases and increases, then the hangover will go off, and that memories from past lives will fade. Okay. So yeah, I think we've gone over time. No, it's
No, Guruji,
10:50.
we still have some more time left.
Okay. Any questions? Does it make sense what you heard? Try to make sense of what we are saying here. What you hear from Shastra, it has to be. You should make sense out of it. If it is not sensible, there is no force, or no one should be able to force you to accept that you can't make sense of.
Yes, Guruji.
Uh, yeah, thank you. Now we had got a small. We made a small discussion the other day about. Anyway, that is why I asked, what is the smallest division of time that you can make sense of? So these divisions of time, like Paramanu, Trasharenu, Kashtha, these are sensed when. So I wanted to give you an example of when time, you know, you are able to see 100 lifetimes in a much smaller uh, duration of time. So for those who are maybe you can the picture ideally a yogi sitting in the forest, in the Himalayas maybe, and in the deepest of his dhyana, they try to achieve continuity to their rapt attention of Paramatma, of God. So Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna. Has anyone come across this? 8th chapter. Prajna, can you give a reference to that 8th chapter? Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna. I
Yes,
think he
Guruji.
says that twice. He says that twice, I guess, in Bhagavad Gita. Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna. Yogi Bhavarjuna also he says. Tasmat. Yeah, I think it comes towards the end of the 8th chapter. Uh,
I'm locating the reference, Guruji.
ah, he speaks in a similar way twice in the 8th chapter. Once in the beginning and once towards the end. Okay, I located it, Rania. Yes, Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Yoga Yukto Bhavarjuna. Okay, it's 8:27. Huh? Who? Lakshmi Madhusudan. Who's this? Yeah. 8:27. Or is it? Yeah, yeah. 8:27 is once. He also says it in 8:8. If you can see 8 chapter, 8th verse. He says it in a little different way. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. You see that?
Yes, Guruji.
Mm. Uh, Lakshmi Madhusudan. Can you see this? 8:27. Thank you for pointing that out. 8:8 also. He, initially he says Tasmat Sarveshu Kaleshu Ma Manusmara Yudhyacha. So in all moments of time. Now when you say Sarveshu Kaleshu, what does that mean? It implies a sense of continuity, regardless of the divisions of time. Yeah, 8:7 is it or 8:8? 8:7, huh? Okay, 8:7.
Here is the shloka, Guruji. In Madhvacharya's Bhashya, it is the 7th shloka, I think.
Okay, 8:7. Good. Uh, uh, okay, please take a look at it. 8:7 and 8:27. Yeah. Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manusmara yudhyacha. He's telling Arjuna, so at all times, remember me and fight. So he's laying stress on that. Sarveshu kaleshu. He could have just said it in a more in a lesser emphatic word like tasmat sarvada or something like that. But he chose to say sarveshu kaleshu, in all instances of time. So again in 8:27 again he says tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna. So he seems to be using this phrase quite often, at least twice here, and he implies this at all other times. So sarveshu kaleshu, at all times. What does that mean? Now a yogi, what he does now, can we remember God at all times? So even if you try, I'm saying even if you try, even if you are at your best, you're trying. So If somebody came, can he point out some time when you are not remembering Paramatma, when you are not connected to Paramatma, when you are not conscious of Paramatma? They will be, right? They will be. I think in the current state, maybe we'll remember really remember maybe once or twice. So the times that we don't remember will form the most part of it, and then maybe some spike projection somewhere in between. Okay, here at this point he remembered, at this point we remembered. So a click here, a click there, right? That we would be found remembering Krishna. Now what, when we when we get into yoga practice in the sense, when we get into the sadhana yoga, I don't mean the uh, standing with head down and leg up, not that kind of yoga. I'm saying that also may be conducive to this, and you do that. But yoga itself is the path of sadhana which connects you to God with bhakti, um, and with jnana and with karma. Bhakti, jnana, karma, all included. Uh, then we would want to reduce the time gap between those clicks of when we remember Krishna. So I think when you get into deep yogic practice, then the times that you remember God will form the most part, and there might be some clicks in between that when you forget God. And when you start fine tuning, when you start perfecting your yogic practice, I think what you start doing there is you will start sensing those clicks of time when you don't remember him, and you would want to reduce that. And reducing it, maybe it will come down to finally one muhurta when you won't be remembering, and then it might come down to even one truti, or then maybe it will come down to one kashta, one trasharenu, one anu, one paramanu. But when you are advanced in yoga, that one truti, it might be a fraction, it might be just a fraction of a second, which should not be mattering much otherwise. But then, even that small fraction of time of forgetfulness will matter a lot. It will seem like the whole world was lost to you at that time. Are you able to make sense of what I'm saying?
Yes, Guruji.
Yes, Guruji.
There are yogic prayers to God wherein they have sung Truti Yugayate. Anybody heard this phrase? Truti Yugayate. Anyone here who has heard this phrase?
Yes, Guruji.
Where did you hear that?
I don't recall where exactly. Must be in one of the
Okay.
Puranas, if I'm not wrong, or in one of the
Yeah.
compositions of the Haridasas, maybe.
You hear it in the Gopi Gita,
Yes, Guruji.
in the Bhagavata, the 10th canto. Bhagavata Purana, 10th canto. There the gopis are singing that without you, one truti. What is one truti? It's like 100. It is lesser than a one Veda. It is lesser than the time that a needle would take to pierce through one single leaf when you have punctured a bundle of 100 leaves. Uh, so it's apparently a very small fraction of time which shouldn't matter to you. But then when you in the separation, when you are feeling that separation from Krishna, then the gopis in their they are not they are not speaking theory. They are speaking their experience. Is that one truti, a fraction of time when they can't even imagine. It is not that there is any such fraction in their sadhana. They have overcome all it. They are completely permeated by the memories of Krishna, by their thoughts of Krishna, and by their connection to Krishna. But they are saying that even if there would be a truti, it is not that there is a truti, but even if there would be a truti of separation, then that would feel like a yuga to them. Um, when we are speaking about the time lapse and the different experiences of time, you see, the Brahmanda is actually stratified into various planetary systems, into various levels based on the level of consciousness of the beings. So, if you elevate to the level of consciousness by sadhana here, still you will be able to uh, be more present. You will be, your sattva will enhance in such a way that you can experience. See, it is for a failure, and so it's for a person who is abandoned and lost, and who is been, who has um, uh, uh, spoiled his life. Such a person, seconds will be going, time will be ticking, and time means nothing to him, because he has, in the sense that he has stopped living actually. For such a person also, time will mean nothing. But for a person who is living really, they will be able to make much out of all the time. And then the real fructification of time, the real utility, the real functional utility of time is that when you are using that time to connect to God, and when you connect to Krishna in such a way that even one fraction of a truti will feel like a yuga, and that the void that you will feel in that one truti, it's undescribable. The pain that is felt there is undescribable, and that pain is not something like an evil thing to avoid. It's a fact of yoga. We all, by tuning into the right understanding, uh, seek uh, uh, to blossom more of our existence. We want to blossom to that level of existence wherein we become more and more alive. More and more alive. By more and more alive, I don't mean more and more externally present. I mean more and more alive, with more and more of the true soul expression, the unleashing of the real potential of the soul. So these were some thoughts for today. Uh, See, theorization is actually all this philosophization. People have made siddhantas. They call it siddhanta. This siddhanta itself, it's an addiction of the human mind. Siddha anta means ready-made conclusion. Truth has its own pace. It teaches you in its own uh, 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 gate of gravity and dignity and splendor. You can't, if you want something ready-made, then you will be ruining the glory of the truth. Uh, so people have this tendency, this kind of a this haste to conclude. So those people end up in siddhantas. Madhva said that there is no need for siddhantas. People make siddhantas mostly in this world to escape from the truth. That's an irony. It is so ironical that it's tragical that it is so, because the word that we use for truth is philosophy. Philos means, the truth. The love of truth is philosophy. So ideally, we would have come up with theorizations and and philosophical speculations would have been in pursuit of the truth. But the sorry state, the tragic state of the world is that most people come up with siddhanta, conclusions, philosophies, not to pursue the truth, but rather to avoid the truth or to escape the truth. Most philosophies in the world have come to escape the truth. You see, people saw the world. They saw that there are differences in this world. Yeah, one man is better than the other, or somebody is better, somebody is not so good. Somebody is rich, somebody is poor, somebody is very happy, somebody is not. Somebody is feeling great, somebody is feeling so dull. Am I audible?
Yes, Guruji.
Yes, Guruji.
Yes, Guruji.
So people wanted to accommodate the people wanted to, these differences. They disturbed the minds of people. They wanted everything to be the same. But that won't happen. That is not the truth of the world. Diversity is a fact of reality. So people couldn't live with diversity. So what they did, they started making philosophies so that they would not be troubled by the truth of this diversity. So somebody came and he made a philosophy and he said that, oh, all this diversity is a false. It's all Maya. All this diversity is an illusion. Ultimately, there exists only one entity, and all this diversity is a projection of illusion. I hope you are able to make sense of who made that philosophy.
Yes,
Yes,
Guruji.
Guruji.
Yes, Guruji.
Uh, so that was a way of escapism from truth. So then, after some time, another person comes up and he says, come on, man, this is too absurd. How can they tried to? They must have tried to convince themselves so that they are not affected by the diversity of the world. They try to tell themselves, but they couldn't tell themselves because there is something called Atma Sakshi, which will reject your proposition of such an absurdity. When you propose something so absurd, your heart will reject it. So, but then there is a pressing need to not be troubled by the diversity. So they have to philosophize. Philosophization has not led to its ultimate culmination. So somebody else comes down the way and he says, no, no, it's not that everything is the same. It's not that there is only one entity. Actually, it is something like, that there's not just one entity. There is all this diversity, but then the differences are not there. Everything is same. Everything is equal. Somebody else comes and makes this philosophy, and that becomes Vishishtadvaita. Vishishtadvaita. They refuse to accept that there is Taratamya, that one being better than the other. That they say that doesn't exist in Vaikuntha. In there is a liberation, there is a reality of ultimately a reality of liberation wherein the differences don't exist. The uh, and then Madhva comes and he says that you don't need to theorize like this. Accept the truth of the reality, accept the truth of diversity, and differences exist there also. Why should you mm, why should you speculate that? Why should you make up such things? And Madhva told that the problem that you're experiencing with diversity is not because diversity itself is problematic. Madhva said that you're experiencing problem from this diversity and from these differences because of the sickness of your mind. Get rid of that sickness and you will learn to be happy with this reality of diversity. Are you able to make sense of what I'm saying? Does anybody have any questions? Was I understood?
Yes,
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 Guruji.
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 Yeah. So Madhva basically he didn't come up with a philosophy. He didn't put up a philosophy. Or rather you could say he was real philosopher in the true sense of the word because he did not encourage such escapism from reality. He said that we have to accept the reality as it is and not try to escape the reality by making such absurd uh, hypothesis theories, by making such absurd theories. uh, the presence of diversity in reality is true. Bahu chitra jagat bahudha karanat parashaktirananta guna paramaha. This is one of Madhvacharya's songs. He used to sing hundreds of songs, on no, not composed by somebody else. He used to compose these songs by his own will. He every day he used to compose songs. Just 12 of them got noted. That is why there are 12. Bahuchitra Jagat Bahudha Karanat Parashakti Rananta Gunah Paramaha. Has anybody come across this?
Yes, Guruji.
Dwadasha Stotram, it was there.
Okay, good, good. Bahuchitra Jagat Bahudha Karanat Parashaktirananta Gunah Parama. Bahuchitra Jagat Bahudha Karanat. Because the differences, the diversity that you see here, they are nothing but the reflections of God's own variegated potencies. Parashaktir Ananta Gunah Paramaha, his own qualities. There, God has infinite qualities, all full to infinite extents, and all his infinite qualities reflect down in this creation as varieties, as diversity. That's why the creation is diverse, because it is reflection of various infinite qualities of God. सुखरूपममुष्य पदं परमं स्मरतस्तु भविष्यति तत्सततं कुरु भुङ्क्ष्व च कर्म निजं नियतं हरिपादविनम्रधिया सततम्. So Madhvacharya presented Paramatma as a reality, not as a theory. So to get ahead in reality to that level that you can arrive at God, you can't start by denying reality. You have to start by accepting reality as it is. So this is what not some kind of some complicated theory. He's speaking common sense. It is basically common sense. Okay, I'll conclude at that today. If there are any questions, please feel free to ask.
Swamiji, I had a question.
Sure.
If we have like pratyaksha, it will whatever we see, we can consider it truth. But then the scriptures describe things like Shesha is holding the earth or the moon is farther away from the sun. So how do we reconcile that?
Why do you have to reconcile that? Those are not realities. Those are not realities that you can either determine to be true or determine to be false within the jurisdiction of your pratyaksha.
Oh, okay, but like we see that distance of sun and moon already this is determined, but it is different from the. It is different,
Oh,
like
yeah, it is different. Where are but what are the chances that your perception is wrong? Because given the accuracy with which the Shastras describe phenomena and facts about creation, only, for example, 7 layers of skin, all the facts about even embryology and the deepest truths that only modern science is waking up to only recently. So why would the Shastra, in all probability, I would think that our perception could be wrong. There is every chance that there is some mistake in the way that we have measured, or there is some mistake in the very perspective with which we are seeing that distance. Or we should discover with what perspective is the Shastra saying this.
oh, okay, Swami. Thank you for answering.
Hare Rama. Fine. So that was a fine session. Thank you for interacting. And please feel free to post your comments or record them or even speak them otherwise with your unmuted mic. We hope this to be an interactive session, and this journey of sadhana, philosophical exploration, needs to be a very genuine one, and you cannot divorce your reality. It has to, because what you're observing might be a very small spectrum of reality, but nevertheless it is true. You can't, if you start by denying the reality of your perception, that will not take you anywhere. So that is the proposition of Madhva's realism. So I hope that makes sense to you, and I hope that you see a lot of fervor and a lot of enthusiasm in that journey.
Guruji, could I add a couple of points?
Sure. Yes.
What you spoke today reminded me of Einstein's theory of relativity, actually. So he gave a similar example, similar to what is said in the Shastras, that what he said was when you chat with a nice girl for 1 hour, it feels like 2 minutes. But when you sit on a hot stove for 2 minutes, it feels like an hour. So that was
Yeah,
one
exactly.
example he used for explaining relativity.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Precisely. That's what. So it has to be experiential.
Yes, Guruji.
All the best brains in this world were experiential. But unfortunately, we are made to be non experiential. We are made to accept truth and facts and principles without our experiential verification. And I think that is the worst violence that can be done to someone. And not just modern education, but even ancient theorizations have done the same violence on the human mind. What else is all this Advaita? They are all such theorizations, and by imposing such theorizations on the human mind, they have weakened humanity.
Definitely, Guruji.
If my country is weak today, it's because of entertaining such philosophies and and choosing to deny the reality of your own perceptual of your own perception. Your well-wisher would never ask you to deny a genuine perception.
Yes, Guruji.
Fine. We'll conclude for today. Yes, sarvaguna sampurnaha, sarvadosha vivarjitaha, priyatam, prita evalam, vishnurme paramassuhut. Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Hey, you said one or two points. Was there another point that you
Yes,
wanted to
Guruji.
say?
I also wanted to remind everyone to, whoever is at Bengaluru or can come to Bengaluru to attend the program at Puttigemata as well next week, so that you can also meet Swamiji in person. And
Puttigemata, I think the address will be there in that invitation, I guess.
yes, Guruji, there's a QR code also to scan the location.
Oh, okay. Fine.
And we will share the same poster through all our channels also, so that everyone will get it and can view it. And one more
Sure.
thing I wanted to mention was in our translation of the Vishnu Purana, actually the 5th, 6th and 7th chapters especially deal with the same concepts which you explained today, Guruji. And also the
Is it?
7th one explains the process of attaining aparoksha jnana and the state called dharana, which, as you said, is when the person has that constant remembrance of Bhagwan at all
Yes.
times through all actions.
Yes. Sarveshu Kaleshu.
Yes, Guruji. So I would request everyone to read that, so that you'll understand whatever Guruji explains perfectly and will have a good foundation of the concepts.
Definitely. The Puranas are the greatest help. And never think that the Puranas are another version of your college textbooks. The Puranas require you to sharpen your perceptions and sharpen your own inner noises. You have to get familiarized with a word called noesis or noetic sensitivity. Noetic, like Noetic, noetic sensitivity. So, and the Shastras intend to sharpen them, so that all the truths after the Shastras intend to sharpen your noetic sensitivity, so that you every moment that you spend in life will be a moment of learning and awakening and exploration. That is the difference between Shastric learning and other learning.
Yes, Guruji.
Please make use of the Puranas and especially the translation that Prajna has put up with so much effort, and it's not it takes a very sincere kind of a dedication to do such work. So let us make use of such a good work to familiarize ourselves with the noetic sensitivity of our own. That's the greatest gift that God has given us.
Yes,
Hare
Guruji.
Rama.
Even in the 5th chapter, actually, what you said was elaborately explained. Especially, it begins with the concepts of the tapas, and that is Adhyatmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika, and then it explains about embryology actually, and how the fetus in the womb actually has memory of 100 janmas, and then it slowly forgets it and has a hangover kind of a situation, and slowly with time it has no spiritual knowledge and gets into all the confusions due to the prabhava of the trigunas.
Correct. And that will help us to understand how much influence is there of the external events on us. And that only when we understand that influence, the extent of that influence, and then when we try to connect back to what we are losing, that is what leads us into sadhana. Sadhana is essentially an art or an ability by which we will have a penetrative vision to look into the truth beyond external influences, unaffected by external influences.
Yes, Guruji.
That is what sadhana is. So we need to know how powerful that most of us don't even know, because our intelligence is not awakened. So we don't even know that we are functioning under an influence. We think that that is what we are, but I'm sorry to say it's an influence. No person in his right mind would wear a torn pant. But we are thinking that I'm doing that out of my own choice. But that is how um, all these wrong ideas, they influence you, they corrupt the mind, and that they will lead you to think that they are your own choices. That's how the modern advertising works. Mind manipulation, subversion, subliminal messaging, they work in a subversive way to corrupt your mind so as to make you think that you are making those choices, making you to forget that you are under an external influence. Dhiyo yona prachodayat. What that first of all does is it makes you realize that you are not functioning on your own. You are functioning under some other influence, and it enables you to just ward off, to just throw off, to just free yourself from those influences so that you can arrive at your own original thinking. Okay. Hare Ram.
Hare Rama, Guruji.
I pray to God that you all will be blessed with the kind of margadarshan that leads you to Shreyas. Shreyase Bhavatu. Narayana.
Thank
Narayana.
you, Guruji.
Thank you. Hare
Thank you,
Rama.
Guru.
Narayana.
धन्यवाद.
Thank you.
Hare Rama.
Dhanyavad.
Hare Rama, Guruji.
Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Hare Ram. Narayana.